Hi, I'm Lucian, the designer for Eden Left Behind, a narrative mech exploration TTRPG. I was having a discussion recently with some fellow designers about games that push forward the narrative when momentum slows down, where the mechanics will kick in to nudge the table just as the energy wanes and players would be asking, what's next? These kind of systems lift weight off for both players and GMs, guiding them to the next scene to create a simple flow of gameplay that doesn't have any serious lulls. Let's take a look at three games, analyzing how they designed to keep momentum, what pros and cons they have, and then how I incorporate this design strategy into Eden. Slug Blaster. This game about interdimensional skateboarding has some really interesting mechanics, but the one we'll be looking at is arcs and beats. Arcs in Slug Blaster are quite simple. During a session, player characters will go on a run, where they will get into trouble, do cool tricks, and get injured. These different actions and results during a run will generate different currencies, trouble, and style. When the players return home from a run, they'll need to go shopping with their currencies to purchase beats. Beats are these prompted roleplay scenes organized into an arc. So let's say you and your crew goes on a run through a toy world, being chased by green soldiers. You kickflip over a soldier, landing on a rail, but you slam into a wall at the end. That kickflip generates one style, the grind another one, and the wall slam one trouble. This type of situation would repeat throughout a session until the crew ends up back home, generating style for cool stuff and trouble for mistakes. Keeping trouble is bad, as it's almost like an HP system. So you'll need to clear off all trouble you got from the run by, say, yelling at your parents. Then with all the fresh style you've got, you could do something like get invited to a rager, or maybe post a trick montage on the internet. This system means that when the action-packed runs come to an end, there's no shortage of ideas for what players could be doing during their free-form roleplay. Rather than sitting around thinking of what they should say, the players browse a narrative shopping menu and become temporary directors in their own slice of life scenes. Besides the narrative aspect, of course, these beats give an endgame resource, Legacy and Doom, which determines your character's ending, essentially. Or you could get fractures, these flavorful pieces of tension written on the shared crew sheet. Writing a fracture then generates more story. Your crew might need to go on a run to earn more style so they can spend it on a scene that would clear the fracture, making the team closer. The game never lets the table get bored. When you're not on a run, you're doing roleplay scenes. When you aren't doing role-playing scenes, you're on a run. The momentum stays and lets a story form naturally. The cons to this arcs and beat system is that they're linear and one-time purchases. You have to go down the line in order, playing through pre-prompted scenes that, to most people, might be very straightforward and self-explanatory. Once you finish an arc, that's it. The arc's over. You've done it. So NPCs that might be tied to certain arcs can have limited screen time, so to speak. Wanderhome. A semi-cozy, diceless travel game set in the ashes of a tragic war. The token system in Wanderhome is a self-feeding system of give and take. The loop of get resources, spend resources we see in Slug Blaster is sped up to a moment-to-moment mechanic in Wanderhome. You'll gain a token for giving gifts, helping others, getting players to describe something wonderful, and then you'll use those tokens to learn a secret about someone, tell a story about the place you're in, or keep someone safe from danger. Each playbook, NPC trait, holiday, and location then has their own way of gaining and spending tokens as well. Gaining resources with playbooks is stuff like the dancer asking someone to be their friend, the firelight offering someone a hand, and the moth tender delivering a letter. Traits have things like feral, requiring players to spend tokens to avoid getting bit, empathetic, asking players to spend a token if they don't want to be honest about sharing how they feel, or dead, showing a player character something that they don't want to think about, unless they spend a token. The tempo of the game doesn't slow down at any point, even though there's no rolling, there's no combat, there's little direction really. It definitely helps that the game is meant to be pretty slow to begin with. Stuff like chase scenes are rare, combat is not allowed. Most of the game is describing views, taking part in traditions, talking to NPCs, helping them with their day-to-day tasks, and then being on your way. The story forms from players choosing to gain and spend tokens, playing out scenes with each other, with NPCs, with the small and forgotten gods. This isn't to say that the game is boring, however. The party will frequently interact with celebrations and holidays where interacting with the community will give you tokens, and participating for yourself will spend tokens, like the Moon Dance, where you gain a token for describing a constellation and its meaning. Then you can spend a token to make a promise you'd never want to break. The gas in Wanderhome is player-driven. If a player realizes they want to, say, fix the town's clock tower, they would need to get a token. So they'd first describe how they rest, describe something grand, or inconvenience themselves to help someone else. they'd get a token, and then they could go work on fixing the clock tower. The game becomes about these day-to-day interactions. Even if you attempt to make a grand change, you need to start small first. The Wildsea. Chainsaw boats riding across a sea of treetops. The aspect system in the Wildsea are excellent at creating stories when the action dies down. Rather than having health, damage goes to your aspects, the things that would make up your character's identity. A magic sword, the way you behave, or a spider dog, stuff like that. When an aspect has its track filled, it's no longer usable, and you'll need to go out of your way to try and fix it. Did your magic sword break? You might need to find someone or something that can fix it. Is your spider dog too injured to help? You'll need to find a vet or give your pet some time to rest. One solution can lead to a separate problem that can lead to a new solution, going on, creating a never-ending narrative of discovery, recovery, and improvement. The momentum is less self-sustained in the Wildsea, as its narrative style is decently traditional, but you can see how incorporating even just small mechanics that feed into the story can just give a little push for players to take the initiative on what they want to do. The idea of hitting the gas or keeping gameplay momentum doesn't mean every moment should be the peak of excitement or the most fast-paced, action-packed scene. It just means that the game can kick in to prompt the table when what's next is uncertain. What the game prompts to the table can be a wide range of tones and themes, as seen in with Wanderhome, a game where most of the scenes are very quiet and collaborative, while Slug Blaster's beat scenes can frequently be conflicts between player characters or NPCs. There isn't really a formula to incorporating these mechanics or what they can do, like with the Wildsea, where the recovery of aspects is quite simple, but will naturally add more scenes that can show a glimpse of your character's more mundane parts of their life. While designing for Eden, I try to incorporate several ways for the game to hit the gas in different moments of play. The personal life system, which I've talked about plenty before in previous videos, kicks in after a mission to prompt the players into role-playing downtime. The reward for doing personal life scenes is recovering stability, the resource used for rerolls, and usually a skill point, but can also end in things like unique weapons or extra mech components. A cookie at the end of the role-playing will make choosing these moments more enticing as an option for players spending their vacation days. They can either improve their mech and leave the character alone, or improve their character and leave the mech alone. The variety of personal life situations is pretty large. For example, a character can start with a friendship situation, but might gain the computer goblin or witch situations through actions taken in play. The prompts in any situation in Eden are a little vague, and that's intentional. Since you might end up rolling the same prompt a few times, it's important to have a level of replayability for each situation, both for the game as a whole, playing several campaigns, and for inner campaign replayability, rolling the same prompt within the party or with the same character. Personal life hits the gas for downtime role-playing, making the transition from mission to vacation smooth and easy for players. Eden is meant to be a very beginner-friendly experience, giving plenty of opportunities to ease in people who may usually be uncomfortable with emotional scenes to start taking initiative and being creative. It's also meant to be a little push for more experienced players, to give some kind of structure to the character development, easing the cognitive load of trying to figure out what you should do next. Then when vacation is over, a mission should start again. This can be something either created by the GM or generated by the mission generation tables. The tables will tell you which of your assigned planets you'll be going to, what the objective is, and then secretly, just to the GM, what enemies will be present and what possible twists might happen. A lot of keeping momentum in game design is actually reducing the amount of planning and high improvisation to let the table breathe and just enjoy the game. The fun part of improving during an RPG stays, like the choices, the cool NPCs, the events during a mission, and of course, the GM can always design their own mission without the tables. The tables are merely there to keep the flow of the game, removing as many pauses in gameplay as it can. Designing systems that can hit the gas during slow points in play can be a great method for keeping a table engaged and coming back for more. This is all just my opinion, of course. Are there any other games you know of that use this style of keeping momentum? What are your thoughts on the topic? Let me know in the comments. I try to respond to everything. Before I go, this video is sponsored by me. I have a Start Playing Games account where I'll be GMing for some people online. If you want to join the table, click the link in the description. I post here weekly about game design, storytelling, and Eden Left Behind. So subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. Thanks for watching.